This is Fox 8 Overtime, sponsored by the 2018 Nissan Titan, backed by America's best limited truck warranty.
Welcome into Fox 8 Overtime once again. I'm Juan Kincaid. You know my friends, Mias Amigos, Garland Gillen, Chris Hagan, and Sean Vazan. How are we feeling about this Saints football team right now?
2-1, where they want to be, in first place, tied with the Bucks and the Panthers.
Yeah.
This is good for them. I mean, 2-1. This is where I thought they were probably going to be. They won the first two, and a lot of people thought they were going to lose at Atlanta. So this is exactly where they should be, huh?
But the way they won is not exactly how everyone thought they were going to win. But still, it counts. Yeah. And we have to say, through the first 3 games, the win over Atlanta was their best of the season.
Yeah, and it's obviously not maybe sustainable to play this way, and we'll get into that in a minute here. But you know, like they said, it's where they should be right now. All
right, let's get you right to the big board. A lot to get to tonight. Here's what's on the menu. Can the Saints offense carry the defense? Did the NFL go too far protecting the passer at Orgeron's evolution and Anthony Davis's future? We're going to start with the big news today, though. The team has lost veteran cornerback Patrick Robinson for the season. This is a huge blow for a secondary. He's got a broken ankle. Huge blow for the secondary that's already struggling.
He was, look, in that secondary that has been struggling, he to me was the one player that was playing fairly well. Tough injury, tough to find this position. You know, they just cut Arthur Millette. It's not easy to find a good nickel cornerback in the NFL. He's not going to be easy to replace.
Yeah, he was obviously brought in for a reason. P.J. Williams manned the spot last year, but obviously they weren't satisfied there. And like Sean mentioned, he was a guy in that secondary, if you're not saying their name, they're having a good day. Yes. And we didn't have to say Patrick Robinson's name a whole lot over the first couple of weeks.
Where are they going to find guys to play cornerback right now? This is extremely scary, I think, for the Saints defense. If Ken Crawley and P.J. Williams are bouncing back and forth between those two guys, and now you lose P-Rob to IR for probably, what, how many weeks of the season, Sean, can he come back?
Well, he's gone.
We were told that it's not looking good. He's probably not going to come back at all this year. So
they're going to do some major pickups here. I don't know. I know I've heard Delvin Barreau talking about the Tiger Cats. He's had
you should say David Amerson is coming in for a visit, so that's a possibility as well.
They need to get some more guys because it's not looking good right now.
Okay, so Robinson's loss puts even more pressure on this defense, maybe on this offense to kind of carry this defense this year. We've seen this story before.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the story for the Brees Payton regime, that the offense kind of carries that defense. But still, I don't know how much of a winning formula that is. You want, you know, some proper balance there from offense to defense. Can they carry the defense? I know this. You cannot count on an offense to put up 40 points.
Look at the Cleveland game.
It's just not going to happen. They've been in 2 shootouts already. They won 1, lost 1. That's probably where you're going to end up if you play this way.
Yeah, I said it on Sunday. Sometimes the best defense is an offense good enough to keep your defense off the field. I think certainly it's not sustainable to have to ask your offense to do this. They were basically relying on a coin toss to win that game on Sunday because whoever won it, obviously, was probably going to win that game. I do think when they get Mark Ingram back in a week, maybe that helps. Maybe they can sustain a couple more drives and keep their defense off the field a little bit longer. But I think the number one thing is you got to stop giving up the explosives. At least if you make a team work down the field, there's a chance for fluke plays or turnovers or anything like that. But they're not giving the defense isn't giving themselves a chance to make big plays. And that's why they're on the field either all day or they're quickly getting beat over the top.
I don't think it's sustainable, this kind of defense. They're giving up 34 points a game. They're last in the NFL right now, giving up points per game. The offense, you cannot have Alvin Kamara touching the ball 31 times a game. Right. You need guys on defense. You knew he's not getting a lot of heat on this. I know the cornerbacks are getting destroyed right now. The defensive line, they need to get more pressure on the quarterback. They need more sacks. If you get more pressure on the quarterback, then it opens the back where they're not having to defend these guys for 5-6 seconds a play.
I thought this was probably the one game where I thought the defensive line actually played better than what they played in the first 2 games. But I agree, they've got to find a way to get more pressure. We always talk about somebody opposite Cam Jordan. Well, all 4 of those guys from the front 4 have to be able to get more pressure on the quarterback. Otherwise, it's going to be easy pickings with that secondary. That takes us to our next topic here. Whose offense in the NFC do you trust more for the entire season? When you look at these offenses, had 104 points put up by the Saints, 102 by the Bucks, 80 by Atlanta, 71 by Carolina. Of those 4 teams, whose offense do you trust more down the stretch?
I am extremely biased because I see them every day, and I've seen them every day for the last, however many years. But I'm going with the black and gold. Top 5 every single year for a reason. Drew Brees, I'll get to my take on him a little bit later in the show. But you're right, there's been an explosion of offense in the NFC South. Different type of explosive plays when it comes to Carolina. They're doing it more with the ground game and the Cam Newton running a little bit more. You saw what happened with Fitzmagic last night. But to me, the most consistent offense over the entire long haul has been the Saints. That's who I trust the most.
It has to 100% be the Saints. I can sit here off the top of my head and pick out a deficiency with every other offense. You look at the Panthers, and eventually Cam Newton's going to get banged up, and if he can't run, he's inefficient. Ryan Fitzmagic, we saw the magic run out a little bit, and if they start Jameis Winston again, well, the Bucs go back in the toilet. And then if you look at the Falcons, they've got Steve Sarkisian calling their plays and an inconsistent Matt Ryan. You got to be kidding. There's no comparison when you're looking at Breeze and Peyton, who have done this for years and years and years. The Saints are the best offense. If you have to rely on them, you don't want anybody else.
It bothers me when Chris doesn't have passion for something. What do you think, Garland?
Michael Thomas. One of the craziest stats of the year is that Michael Thomas, the target rate to the catch rate, 38 targets. I'm sorry, 40 targets, 38 catches. 95% of the time, Drew Brees throws it to number 13. He catches it. So you got the #1 receiver in the NFL right now. You probably got the #1 running back. Well, Todd Gurley might have something to say about that. But the amount of touches Alvin Kamara is getting right now, and then with Mark Ingram coming back in a couple of weeks, I can't go anywhere else.
I would just say this. Based on what Deuce told me, there are ways that teams can look at the Saints offense and say, look, if we can double Michael Thomas and put a fixture on Alvin Kamara and maybe double there, you can take a lot of that offense away. In Atlanta, you don't have that option, and they're missing some key pieces on offense as well. So I think Atlanta is the most dangerous offense in the NFC. Now, I agree with the whole Matt Ryan, Steve Sarkisian thing, so that may hold them back. Time now for a viewer question submitted on the Final Play app using the Final Word feature. Do you think the NFL went a little too far in protecting the quarterback? That comes from Neil Adams down in LaRose. Clay Matthews called the NFL soft. He said it's gotten a lot soft with these 25 roughing the passer penalties in the first 3 weeks, including 4 last night on Monday Night Football. That's the most in a game since 2011. Has the NFL gotten soft?
Yes. I mean, they went too far with the Aaron Rodgers injury, which is an outlier. I mean, that type of play doesn't happen every day, play in and play out. That is textbook tackling right there. I mean, from Pee Wee all the way up to the NFL, that is how you are taught to tackle. Now you're asking guys to basically change their momentum mid-play. You're asking for guys to get injured. In fact, wasn't there a Miami Dolphins player that was trying to readjust his weight, tore his ACL? Look, I read today that they may not change the rule, but they may change the enforcement. The competition committee deserves some slack. I mean, some flack here, because they basically put their officials in an impossible scenario that is completely subjective. And in fact, I thought Cam Jordan could have gotten called for one on one of his sacks on Matt Ryan.
I think the key word there that Sean said is subjective. I mean, you see it on roughing the passer calls. You see it on some of the targeting calls. It's calls that are on the outside that are within clear view of the ref. I think we've all seen plays and hits in one game or another where it's over the middle and it could have been targeting, but the ref just didn't have a clear line of sight to it. It's something that's not going to be called every time, or it's going to be called depending on the officiating crew or whatever it may be, and that's no way to govern your game, in my opinion.
The catch rule got changed after a ton of bad calls on the catch rule. I think this will get changed in the offseason. On the competition committee, Sean Payton, I'm sure he's hearing a lot from his own team there. Though luckily the Saints have not been brought into this as much as the Packers have with Coach McCarthy right there. But yeah, I think this will get fixed in the offseason. NFL is at least wise that when they see a problem, they change it.
We hope it gets fixed sooner than later. All right, football on Fox 8 really gets going this week as we welcome Thursday Night Football to our airwaves with the Rams visiting the Vikings. What a great Thursday night game that's going to be. But first, get an in-depth look at the Saints' trip to New Jersey to face the Giants on Game Plan Wednesday night at 10:35. Coverage of Thursday's contest begins at 6:30. Coming up here on Overtime, we'll keep it on the gridiron, where Ed Orgeron's evolution will once again be on display this week as he takes on an Ole Miss program that he once coached. And later, how much pressure are the Pelicans under to show Anthony Davis that they are legitimate contenders?
Overtime, sponsored by the 2018 Nissan Titan, backed by America's best limited truck warranty. You're watching Fox 8 Overtime, sponsored by the 2018 Nissan Titan, backed by America's best limited truck warranty.
All right, welcome back in. We're switching gears now to a reunion of sorts this Saturday night in Tiger Stadium. Ed Orgeron's current team will play his former team, LSU, taking on Ole Miss. Is this still a story? Are we making more out of something that shouldn't be?
Probably not as much as it was in years past. I just think, he He used to coach there, and I think in Ed Orgeron's mind probably has a little bit of motivation there. But just take Ed Orgeron's name off for a second. Would you take after 25 games your coach being 19-6?
Here he goes.
I mean, he's evolved as a head coach. Why is it so hard for people to accept this? He has improved. He's done better. He's 19-6. I mean, better than Saban, better than Les Miles the first 25 games.
Players would love to play for him. I think he's done a fantastic job. Tell me what's different about him, Chris, from 2007 to where he is now. Obviously, it's his first head coaching job, but I mean, it's a lot. It's night and day, isn't it?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is just the trust. I think you can see the trust from Orgeron to his staff and down to his quarterback. Obviously, there was a bit of tension in there between Orgeron and Matt Canada that never really seemed to sort itself out, and it kind of made its way down to the offense. I think now you see him trusting Steve Ensminger. Ensminger, I think, has done a great job calling plays. And, they've put Joe Burrow in a position to win given his skill set. And so I think Orgeron's done a good job of finally taking his hands off the offense. We think he's taken his hands off the offense, and it's worked out better for him this year.
You know, one thing has changed, and I'm looking at this video of Kelly Orgeron and Ed. Ed back in 2007 was rocking about 10 Red Bulls a day. He is totally killed. He does not drink any energy drinks anymore. He doesn't even drink like hot tea after his motivational speech after the Auburn game.
Maybe he does need some hot tea though.
It's pure adrenaline. But to add on to Chris's point, he's even evolved while he's been at LSU. He no longer gets in the offensive room, defensive room. I mean, obviously he was never going to get in the defensive room, but he trusts Steve Ensminger with everything, and he's staying away. He's a head coach now, that's it.
I think what almost was the beginning of the end of him is when he pulled a Les Miles. He said he wasn't going to get involved in the offense when Matt Canada came in here, and the first thing he did was get involved in the offense, as opposed to letting the guy that you believed in. And you said such good things about Matt Canada coming in here, and then you didn't let him be the coach that you thought he could be. I think when he finally got out of his own way and said, you know what, let me take a step back, that began his success with LSU. And again, wouldn't you want to play for that guy? Can you imagine what the pregame speech is like?
And I think a lot of that past stuff, especially with Matt Canada, that was a little bit of politics. I mean, he had to say the right things about Canada and making a splash at coordinator.
Of course.
In order to get that job, and I think he did the right thing there, but I think now he's able to be more of a coach, and I think he's learned how to be a head coach of a major football program.
Also, there's a lot better football players. I'm going to show you a lot better coach when you have better football players. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, you're right. All right, coming up, Anthony Davis has changed agents. So does that mean he has changed his outlook on a career in the Crescent City? We'll talk about the pivotal season ahead for AD and the Pelicans next.
You're watching Fox 8 Overtime, sponsored by the 2018 Nissan Titan, backed by America's best limited truck warranty.
All right, time to talk Pelicans basketball. They're back on the court, but it's off the court news that made the biggest headlines on Sunday when Anthony Davis decided to sign with LeBron James as agent and the agency Clutch Sports. Should Pelican fans be worried about Davis's future here in New Orleans? What do you think, Chris?
Well, given the chance to address it at Media Day this week, Anthony Davis gave the politically correct answer that it was what he felt was a necessary move for him. He wants to be the most dominant player in the league, but didn't necessarily put anybody at ease of his future plans. And I think with AD, it's a matter of, like we've all said in previous years, and it's even more relevant now, and Gentry said it, you've got to prove to AD that this team's capable of winning now. But again, it's so hard in the West when you bring a guy like LeBron James over to the Lakers. And as Gentry put it, you know, I agree with him. It's like when you're playing golf and you're shooting in the 90s and you finally get up into the 80s, and then it's really, really hard to keep getting better when you're that good. And so the Pelicans, they've got to find ways to do it, but the West keeps getting tougher, and that's a tough outlook.
So here's what I hate about NBA basketball right now, is that the game ain't what it used to be like in the 80s and 90s when the best players wanted to go against each other. And now all the best players want to play with each other to win a championship and say it was all great and everything. That's the thing I don't like about the NBA now, is that the competition factor is not there. You got Golden State and Houston and then everyone else. other teams just fighting for scraps, and it bothers me. But I don't know if the commissioner can do anything about it.
To fire back at that, though, when you do look at the 80s and 90s, those Lakers and Celtics teams were loaded. Those were 3 and 4 all-star teams.
No, they were, but you didn't see all-stars leaving a team to go play with another all-star. Those guys came up together with the Lakers. Those guys with the Celtics came up together.
They did, and with the exception of, and they're big exceptions, obviously, but DeMarcus Cousins and Kevin Durant, the Warriors did build a championship team on their own. And it's, yeah, Draymond Green recruited Kevin Durant there pretty hard. But let's be real, they were probably going to win without Kevin Durant again the next year.
Just want to throw this out there because we were around when Chris Paul left, okay?
Yep.
He changed his agent. He left. He eventually got his way out of town, forced his way out of town. But the one thing I will say is when Chris Paul was on his way out, you felt it with him. His demeanor changed. He was not a pleasant guy to be around, at least with us. You just felt it. I have not seen that with Anthony Davis.
No.
So do I worry about his future? Sure, but I at least feel like there's a chance he could be here and sign that Supermax.
What does he mean by most dominant player in the league? You don't need to sign with a different agent to be the most dominant player in the league. One, you or I could negotiate his new contract. Everything's set. They know the Supermax deal next summer. There's something else going on here. But if they do win, then he could possibly stay. But if they lose, they finish 8th, they miss the playoffs, I'd be really worried in New Orleans that Ron Paul is the puppet master. He's the new agent for Anthony Davis there. That's when you start to worry if they do bad this season.
You always hear players say it's not about the money. Well, in these situations, it's not about the money. It's about getting that ring. And $230 million over 5 years, what do you get with the Pelicans? That's with the Birds exception. Obviously, no more money can come from any other team than that. We shall see. We shall see. All right, coming up, we preview the week ahead in prep football as head coach Nick South of Formaggio returns to Hanville's bench. And we will have our final say as well. Stay with us.
Overtime, sponsored by the 2018 Nissan Titan, backed by America's best limited truck warranty. You're watching Fox 8 Overtime, sponsored by the 2018 Nissan Titan, backed by America's best limited truck warranty.
Prep football season about to reach the halfway point. Week 5 is upon us. Let's get you our Fox 8 Big 8 poll. Not much change at the top. Easton, Carr, in the other order. Carr number 1, Easton 2, Curtis 3, Eric number 4, Terrebonne at 5, Destrehan 6, Lakeshore, and Holy Cross coming in at 7 and 8. We've got a couple of big games this week, but we want to talk about one specifically. The Hanville-Terrebonne game battling down in H-Town this week. That's a huge one.
Yeah, Nick Formaggio is back to the sideline, and goodness, this is like the toughest game to come back for. If Destrehan would have been tough last week, this week he's going against Terrebonne. Ja'Kai Douglas is one of the best running back / receiver / quarterbacks in the state. I went down to Houma this morning. They are fired up about this one. This is going to be a possibly sold-out stadium. A lot of attention is going to be drawn to this game this week.
Terrebonne lighting it up down in Houma. That's a good matchup, good matchup. Time now for everyone's favorite, our final say, and Sean Vazan leads us off.
Bat and lead off, huh? So I'm in Atlanta Sunday watching the game, and when it went into overtime and the Saints won the toss, I had little doubt the Saints were coming home winners. Why? 2 words: Drew Brees. We seem to do it so many times, and perhaps we've been spoiled by it. Maybe that's why some freak out when he underthrows a deep ball or gets picked off. But what Brees has consistently done here since 2006 is not easy. He just makes it look that way. I say this because I sense a matter-of-factness to his performance Sunday, like, duh, that was supposed to happen. Do me a favor. Don't have that attitude. My message to the Who Dat Nation out there is this. Take the time to remind yourself that you're in the presence of greatness, a level of elite play that doesn't come around all too often, especially for this franchise. Brees is 39. We all know his career won't last forever, so appreciate it and enjoy it while he's still quarterback for the New Orleans Saints.
My final say goes to the fans everywhere of every team. Enjoy the process. As a journalist, sometimes I'm a bit jealous of you guys in the way that I used to be one of those fans and enjoyed the fun that came with it. My advice is to enjoy the process and the ups and downs of each week. Even for some of the most miserable fan bases, there are good times to be had. The Bills beating the Vikings, the Lions upsetting the Patriots, and the Dolphins, of all teams, starting the season 3-0. There's only one championship team at the end of each season, so if that's all you take joy in, it's probably going to be tough sledding. I say this because I heard some LSU fans complaining about the Southeastern game at the gym the other day. That was while the Auburn win was replaying on TV. It's unbelievable. Tiger fans, enjoy this top 5 ranking while you can. It doesn't come around too often.
Wow. In the NBA and the NFL, the owners hold most of the power. Yes, free agency is giving players more freedom to move around, but some big-time stars are trying to force their way out before their contracts expire. Le'Veon Bell is refusing to sign his $14.5 million franchise tender after the Steelers only offered $10 million guaranteed in a new contract. He now plans to sit out until Week 10, which will give him an accrued season and make Bell an unrestricted free agent in 2019. Jimmy Butler for the Timberwolves is also refusing to report, but he just wants to get out of Minnesota. He'll become a free agent next offseason. The T-Wolves are now forced to trade him or get nothing. The players don't get to pull too many power moves in the pros, but these guys are doing just that.
I would love to have Jimmy Butler here.
Oh, no doubt.
Not bad. My final say is on the resurgence of Eldrick Taunt Woods. You know him as Tiger, and you were reminded on Sunday that he is the biggest name in golf. I don't care who's coming behind him. I don't even care who's looking like the next Tiger. There will never be another Tiger Woods. His effect on the game of golf, from a popularity standpoint, has and will never be matched. The money that players are making today, those increased purses, Tiger did that. The television ratings that spike on a Sunday when the red Nike Polo was on the course. Yep, that's Tiger too. Those massive galleries that line the golf course on every hole because they know who's eventually coming their way. It's all because of Tiger Woods. And now that he's winning again, look out. The Masters has already tabbed him as the favorite to win the green jacket. Not only is Tiger the greatest player golf has ever seen, but his following goes far beyond just the guys wearing those plaid pants. Case in point, Sunday's NFL games all took a backseat to Tiger winning his first tournament in 5 years. Nearly 20 years ago, PGA pro Ernie Els summed up Tiger's future pretty succinctly, saying he's going to be bigger than Elvis when he's in his 40s. Tiger's now 42 years old, and he's won 80 tournaments. To quote Elvis, Tiger's got him all shook up. Thank you very much.
And you might have even sold him short a little bit there. You said biggest name in golf, biggest name in sports.
I would not argue with that. And a reminder that overtime is only a part of our football on Fox 8 schedule throughout the season. We've got a full preview of the Giants on Wednesday night's game plan. Friday is time for the high school football kids with Sean Lazan, Chris Hagan, and Garland Gillen. Sunday is the game day routine. Fox 8 Live tailgate at 10 a.m. Kickoff at 3:25 this week. Wrap up the day with the final play at 10:30. Monday night is review time with Deuce McAllister, and then we will try and do it all over again because that's what we do here on Fox 8. Should be a lot of fun this week. Thursday night football on Thursday.
That's a great game.
It is a great game. So early in the season.
Yeah, Rams and Vikings. That might be a NFC Championship preview.
Real quickly, Saints beat the Giants on Sunday?
Yes.
Just that simple.
Yeah, just yes, man.
Yes, avoid the shootout.
It's going to be a shootout, though. I'm calling it.
Might be some deep
big
balls.
fantasy football numbers.
All right, no doubt about that. Until then, until next time, for the gentlemen beside me, and I know all their names this week, and everyone at Fox 8, thanks for watching. Our next newscast is at 4:30 in the morning. Have a great night.
This has been Fox 8 Overtime, sponsored by the 2018 Nissan Titan, backed by America's best limited truck warranty.